we're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is the time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side, and the one institution that has stood by our side is the courts. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
You're listening to Muzilog Muzik Radio, home of indie artists.
Keep it locked.
As we continue to make it a great day, whatever time it is on your end of the planet, I'm Samuel Archer, your host. It's the Anytime, Any Day Radio Show. How are you doing, family? I take it that you guys missed me for the past couple of days, you know. Hey, it's anytime. Get used to it. Shout out to the International Village. We got listeners worldwide. Worldwide. BDP. Posse. That's what's up. That's what's up. This is our Juneteenth episode. And we have a lot to consume today, you know. It's all about the vibe. All about the vibe. Well, not all about the vibe. We also have to throw a few factual things in there, you know. We can't all be about vibe and getting lifted. Sometimes you gotta get that knowledge. That's what's up. Anytime, any day. Radio show. So, there's a couple of things I want to address. I spoke about, you know, a cool name for the listenership, you know, the crew that's tuning in. And I think I was thinking kind of high, you know. I call it Cyber Life Junkie, you know. You gotta be I don't even know what you gotta be. You gotta be something. Cyber Life Junkie. And by the way, I'm still looking for a sponsor for the coffee, you know. I could have said I just sipped the coffee by so-and-so, you know. But it's a brand name, but hey, this is my real estate. You gotta pay for the real estate out here. Ain't no free jams. Yeah. But this is good coffee, by the way. Very good coffee. Shout out to my people in Publix in the Orlando area, Florida. One love. So anyway, back to the name for the listening crew. We explored some names, and there's a correction I have to make too. I spoke about a guy called Captain Jack, and that was not the right name. So we're gonna rectify that. Those of you who listen to the show would have seen that I made that correction in the chat. That's if you paid attention. But if you didn't pay attention, you know, who pays attention these days? Who does that? Paying attention. So his correct name is Combat Jack. Well, not his correct name, not his government name. The name of the podcast. So it's Combat, you know, like he's in combat. You know, and that's probably why I thought of the term captain, because when you see the logo of the podcast. You think Army, you think, maybe Captain, so it was kind of like that vibe. And he's a Brooklynite, by the way. But Brooklynite of Haitian descent. So I wanted to, bring that clear, bring some clarity there. Shout out to the Haitian family. I know you guys are not on the favorite list right now, but we're gonna get that rectified. It's the Juneteenth episode, so we're gonna put some knowledge out here and put a little vibration out there and tug on the hearts of the people with common sense and be good to Haiti one more time. We're gonna work that out. But Combat Jack, his real name is, he has passed on, as I spoke about it before. But his name is Reggie O'Shea. Reggie O'Shea. And he was one of the best to do podcasts, man. And when he was in the podcast space, he did his thing. Shout out to him and his family. But the reason why I remembered him is we spoke about giving the listeners a name to rock with, and he would call his audience internets. I thought that was kind of dope. But I did get a comment in one of the episodes. I think it might have been episode 2. And someone commented, it was a nice looking young lady too. She commented and said she didn't want to be called a junkie, a cyber life junkie. So I said, maybe I was thinking a little too high. Maybe I should simplify the thought process there. And on top of that, she made a suggestion too. She said, she suggested the Anytimers, and I think it's a good name. I think it's kind of hot. It's one word. It even works better than I think what I have there. Cyber life junkies. Not that cyber life junkie is a bad vibe, but it's probably an acquired taste. You probably got to use it a few times and come up with something. Anytimers, it's simple, it's catchy. I think I could see that on a t-shirt. Like really cool, like a black t-shirt in yellow. And the girls, if they want it in pink. I don't subscribe to the real men wear pink foolishness. We're going to debate that. If anyone wants to come and represent pink for men, we could debate that. Because I will not be caught dead wearing pink. So, every now and then I do a little research online. I would either Google, the company, and it's a way to know, what is the brand. A lot of times I evaluate the brand, the Muzilog brand, the podcast, the publication, muzilog.com and muzilogwoman.com. Excuse me. And, it's good to see if there's any activity once in a while. And I actually saw something that caught my interest. I didn't know, and it's a recent post that was out there. Let me see if I have that information up. But I thought it was really, really cool. And I'm curious to know how the information was curated. So that's a little bit of curiosity for me, and but it's really good news. I must say it is really, really, really good news. By the way, if you just tuned in, you're listening to the Anytime, Anyday Radio Show. I'm your host, Samuel Archer. So this good news is cool. So there's a site out there called Million Podcasts. Million Podcasts. And, it's a podcast platform. And they did a chart or a list, I would say. And this was published June 10th. This was just the other day, about a week ago? A couple days ago? June 10, 2025. And they compiled a list, the best 100 music interview podcasts. The best 100. And so I saw that it, connected to Muzilog, and I'm like, well, how did that, what's this all about? Who is this Million Podcast? And I checked it out. It's a good platform. And I don't know whose idea it was to actually do the Million podcasts for, but the information is pretty sound. Pretty sound. And I recognized a few podcasts up here. For example, number 2 is the Questlove Supreme. That's a shout out to Questlove from the Roots. Some people call him a mayor. And the crew. And he's done some amazing episodes. Really informative too. His podcast came in at number 2. Bobby Cass is number 1, and I'll have to check him out, see what he's up to. There was another one that I saw that there's this brother on and he on YouTube, yeah, and he's interviewing or he has interviewed many artists and producers from the 80s and 90s that did R&B. And his name is Nnamdi E.S. Okoye. Yeah, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But his podcast is called Halftime Chat. And he's had some really, really good he had some really good episodes. Shout out to the Halftime Chat family. He's interviewed R&B. You want to know about R&B within the 80s and the 90s and Uptown MCA and the New Jack Swing era, check out his platform. And there were some other podcasts that I recognized. And so I'm thinking while I'm, browsing through, and I'm saying, could it really be that Muzilog Magazine podcast is up in here? And ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, the International Village, I am proud to announce that Muzilog Magazine podcast came in at number 87. We almost didn't make it in. We almost didn't make it in. Hallelujah. So Muzilog Magazine podcast is in the top 100 music talk show podcasts. Gonna give ourselves a round of applause for the crew. For the crew. And guess what? We came in ahead of another podcast that I follow with Tank and Jay Valentine. They have a podcast called R&B Money, and they came in at number 100. They actually closed the list. It's interesting. I'm just curious to how they compiled this. Like, what was what type of algorithm that they used to put this in place? So while that is being worked out, I think you can break out a little champagne and enjoy it with us, and check out the episodes. So you could go to millionpodcast.com and what's it here? /music-interview-podcasts. And it should take you to that page. I don't know how long this is going to be here. I don't know if it's going to be compiled or updated every couple of weeks. Who knows how how these things work. But I'm just happy to be in the number. So shout out to Million Podcasts for including us, including Muzilog Magazine Podcasts on your list. Now, this is what I want the audience to do. Now, there's when you check the notes area, I hate using the term link in the bio. I just hate that. That's just so corny. Link in the bio. Like you want to slap somebody. Get it out of my face with that finish. Just put link in the bio. But in the comment area, not a comment area, there's, below the episode, there's a section for some notes where you have the description and the topic of the theme or the topic of the episode or what have you. Did I say topic of the theme? Let me sip some coffee. It's that time in the morning, guys. But anyway, there'll be links, and I need you guys to go to the podcast, follow whatever link you want, and leave a comment. Leave a comment. And also do a little rating, okay? I mean, how could Muzilog Magazine Podcast be in the top 100 and there's no ratings? I have no stars here. Come on, guys. You guys want me to do this stuff? You got to put in the work. You guys aren't here for your good looks and your ears. You guys got to get it together. So if you listen to podcasts on Apple, get your finger butts over there. Not your butt, your finger butts. There you go. Get your finger butts over there and rate the show. Listen to a couple of the episodes. And tell folks, this is the best podcast in town. Because Samuel Archer is on there. Make it happen, guys. Go to Spotify if you're on Spotify. Do the same thing. Leave some comments. Rate the show. Give it some stars. Be truthful. Be truthful and don't go lower than 3. Don't go lower than 3 stars. There's enough haters out there. But, it'd be good to get some stars. I mean, we're on the list and there's no comments, no stars, no... Come on, guys. So you guys got to get out there. There'll be links to follow. We got to have some reviews. Let me look at my competitor up here and see what they got going on. My competitor up here. Let's come up here and see. The halftime chat. He has his rating is 5 out of 5. And he has 4 reviews. That's interesting. 4 reviews for the type of subscription list he has. Interesting. 4, like under 5. Guys, we could beat this. I know more than 4 people that can get their finger butt over there. And hit the stars and leave a comment. Let's go to R&B King. I'm sorry, R&B. Let's see, these guys are not that. They should be doing pretty good. Yeah, R&B Money. R&B Money. The rating is 4.8 out of 5, and they have 919 reviews, and they came in at 100. Again, I don't know how they did the math on this, but if we were in a different dynamic, or it's a different equation, they'll definitely be on a higher level than where Muzilog Magazine podcast is right now. But that's not for long, because I know my audience is going to turn that around. You guys are going to get your finger butts over to Spotify, over to Apple, over the Tuner, and all the different podcast platforms, and you would leave some reviews, and you're going to hit the stars. You better. I'm afraid to see how many reviews Amir has. And Amir would be, oh my God, Questlove Supreme. Rating is 4.6 out of 5. Still good. That's excellent. And he has 1,875 reviews. Whoa. And the number 1 podcast on this list, Bobby Cass. Guess how many reviews this brother has up there? 4,537 reviews. The things you see that make you want to quit sometimes. I remember going to places as a musician, and you see guys play, and they just play so good, man. You're like, yeah, this dude make me want to quit. Like, well, why am I playing the keyboard or the piano? Why am I even doing this with this other person? And it's not said in hate or anything. This is a positive vibe. It's a positive thing. So we're going to put a spotlight on the book Hybrid Executive. That's my book. If you haven't read it yet, it's available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and other digital book platforms, DSPs. It's in Apple Books. So those of you who have Apple Books, you can go pull it up over there. It's on Amazon, You get your copy. Now, while I'm working on the audiobook, you guys can get Speechify and turn the ebook into an audiobook. Yeah. Turn that into an audiobook. We also have what we call a business card promotion package. $150 for the year. We feature your business on the website. We also talk about you when we put out a newsletter. We're going to be putting out, well, we have started putting out newsletters. Those of you who follow what I do. I'm on Facebook, by the way. Facebook is like the new seniors social media platform. My kids aren't on Facebook like that. They kind of come to Facebook maybe for something serious. There are other places. The younger people have moved on. They're like in, where are they? They're TikTok and IG. What's up? They're not chilling in Facebook. The young people not on Facebook like that. I'm laughing because we've come up a long way with social media platforms. I remember when emails was the thing. You do an email, and that was the social media vibe. And we've come a long way to have special platforms for what it is that we want to do. So yeah, if you're promoting a business, the link is in the notes, or should I say description section. There's some links there that you can follow and work it out. Now, some of you might just want to donate. We have a link for that too. You don't want a t-shirt, or you don't want a book, or you don't want to promote your business, but you just won the lotto and you have 10 grand and you don't know what to do with it. Hey, it will definitely put the show on blast. So yeah. So, and that's, well, I was going to say, make, if it's US, 10 grand US, because 10 grand in other money might not be worth $5. Oh, that's bad. That was a bad joke. That was a bad joke. Oh my goodness. So this is the Anytime, Any Day Radio Show. So how do you guys feel about the Anytimers? Instead of saying cyber life junkies. I like, personally, I think I like Anytimers better. I'll be honest. I didn't think of it. And, I could be impartial and I can be fair. It's like, Anytimers is a little more clever and sleeker than cyber life junkies. Now, if someone wants to come up with something better, or you just want to throw something else in the pot to keep it interesting, come up with something interesting and clever, and it could be funny, that'd be cool too, So let us, jump in the comment area, and I read the comments, by the way. Now, I may not have time to respond to all of them. It's not like you're leaving hundreds of comments. I gotta train this audience. You guys are tough. The people who are encouraging me to do this, they don't want to go and comment. It's the funniest thing. They comment to me, and I'm like, guys, I need comments on where you go, where it is, and put your comments over there. If you checked out the show on Facebook, leave a comment in there. You went to YouTube, leave a comment there. Oh, by the way, it seems like Facebook started, they started to take live shows down. When you do a live, so it's up for a certain amount of time. I gotta check and see how long it stays up there. Maybe a month, Who knows? But I noticed that I did some interviews not too long ago, but they're not up on Facebook anymore. So it looks like they're probably conserving their space, you know. Maybe the cloud has maybe 2 more terabytes. I mean, there's just so much more information to archive and preserve that the live is taken down. So what happens is that I think I started getting an alert that said, hey, take your live interview down, or at least have a copy of it, because it's coming down. And they weren't joking. Facebook wasn't joking at all. They took it down. So it's a matter of time that these are taken down. However, those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, they seem like LinkedIn hasn't started that type of policy as yet. So those videos are there, and the interviews, and also the episode of Anytime, Any Day Radio Show. And this is episode 3, the Juneteenth episode, by the way. Yeah, and also YouTube. You know, we're on YouTube as well. And if you haven't yet, go to YouTube and subscribe. I need subscribers. I want to get to 1,000. I'm like a little bit over 900. We need to crack that, get to 1,000. So get your finger butts over there. And no, we will not be calling the listeners finger butts. That's a no-no. I'm just saying, I don't want to say the other thing. But take your finger butt over there and subscribe if you haven't as yet. Shout out to the international family. It's about the vibe and facts. About the vibe and facts. Yeah. So I made that correction on Combat Jack. And hey, check out his episodes. He's no longer here with us, but his work is still with us. Brilliant dude. He has an interview with D Nice. He did a D Nice interview. If you wanted a really good account of hip hop for a timeline, and you probably read books like The Big Payback by Don Charnas, if you read that. If you read The Tanning of America by Steve Stout. Shout out to Steve Stout. Shout out to Don Charnas. That interview that Combat Jack did with D Nice, it ties a whole lot of things together, because he talks about how he ended up in BDP, Boogie Down Productions, and how things went with him, from getting into photography to turning things around. There was a time when he wasn't doing that great, and one thing I do like with D Nice, he has a really good energy. Now, it's one thing to see someone over time, and sometimes people are different. I don't know him personally like that. But D Nice, shout out to you. You have put some skin in you have skin in the game. You've contributed to the world of hip hop. You're important, and you deserve your flowers. Shout out to you, D Nice. That's what's up. So I've been checking out some new music, And there's a young lady that I'm really inspired by. Really inspired by this young lady. Want to talk about her a little bit. Her name is Raina Simone. Shout out to Raina Simone. I came across your record. I think it's an independent effort. And for someone doing an independent effort, kudos to Raina Simone and her crew. I do get a kick out of your videos, your music videos. They're hard, but they have a little bit of funniness to them. Oh, well, not that they're funny as like ha 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 funny, but there's some really 3D type things you got going on in there. So kudos to you. Now it says that you're from Harlem and Inglewood, New Jersey. So maybe one day when I get to interview you, we can talk about that, because I would be interested knowing the connection between Inglewood, New Jersey and Harlem. You know, that's just such a combination. So I'm wondering, are you repping Harlem? Are you repping New Jersey? You know, are you repping both? Now, the other reason why I like her record, it reminds me of when I did my album, Soul Music Vineyard. When I released it, it had like almost 30 songs on there. I think with her latest record, and that record is called, hold on, let me get my notes here so I don't say the wrong thing. I don't want to be making corrections every time I come up on here. Yeah. So this album is called Old Soul, New Conscience. Old Soul, New Conscience. And I think the album has like, if it's not 20, it's a little bit more than 20 songs. So it means that we were somehow on the same vein of putting out a record. Obviously, she took it a couple of steps higher than what I was able to do. She was able to not just do the records. She was able to also do music videos to accompany the songs. Someone who did that successfully was Beyonce. When Beyonce did, there was a record Beyonce did that had very, very little announcement. It's I think it's like a black and pink. I think it had Drunken Love. That Drunken Love record. I think it's a self-titled record, Beyonce. That record, she literally did if not all, most of the songs had music videos by the time that record dropped. And it's a really cool strategy that other artists we can implement in addition to doing other things, going forward. So I thought that was kind of hot. And she has a record called Black Messiah, and that was sort of like the first record that I checked out. And I mean, the whole record is beautiful. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm sort of over the singles era. Just I like a song here and I like a song there, and that's okay. The market is the market. You guys do what you do, and that's probably why I did my record the way I did it. I didn't want you to just feel like one vibe. It's multiple levels to the record, and Raina Simone has achieved that with her record, I think. So give her a listen. She's a young lady. She's probably in her 20s by now. So, yeah. And she has a nice, I think she sort of embodies a little bit of MC Light, a little bit of Queen, a little bit of Lauryn Hill. And plus she has her tone. She has like a particular tone that she raps with. Really, really cool. So, Raina Simone, if you or your team get to check out this interview, feel free to reach out. You know, we'd love to have you on the Muzilog Magazine podcast. I mean, imagine we're in the top 100 podcasts for music talk shows. So, hey, why not? I'm just saying. You gotta like yourself, guys. You gotta like yourself. The next record I'm vibing to is no other than the mighty Slick Rick. I'm just saying, like the whole I mean, if you understood the Get Fresh crew, the Doug E. Fresh and the Get Fresh crew, you understand that. You don't. If you don't understand it, you just won't get it, and that's okay. You know, we're not trying to force anything on anybody. But the ruler is definitely back. Shout out to the King, Slick Rick. Shout out to the King, Slick Rick. So he does this record called Victory. Now, it's like he's been out of the mix for a little while, you know. And I just like when the generals could come back and do a record. I like that. I love that. I employ it. I respect it. Not everyone is brave. You have artists that did their thing, and then, you know, they had their time, and they're like second guessing themselves. Hey, you know, should I come back out? Should I do another record? They sort of second themselves and second guess and third guess and fourth guess. They have a room full of guests and just guess themselves out of the game. Because whatever reason it is, they're not settled on it. But it's cool to see Mr. Slick Rick come back. And now I'm going to be honest. For a hip hop head, I'm a little divided on it, on the project. I'm a little divided on it. My favorite song is a record called Stress. He has a record on there called Stress. I thought it was, I think that's kind of like my groove. I like the groove. I like the flow. I mean, that record tells you that Slick Rick hasn't lost her step. You listen and you're like, this dude is still the greatest storyteller right now. I mean, you know, he ain't lose that step. He didn't lose it at all. He can still flow. If you want to flow, he can still flow. So you gotta give that to him. But whatever, you know, I guess my thing would be, if we didn't have that era in the 90s, you know, if we didn't have a DJ Premier, if we didn't have a Pete Rock or a Easy Moby or even Q-Tip with Tribe and Jay Dilla and those dudes, and who else? Well, Teddy Riley, of course. the MPC days, the SV1200 days. If that era didn't exist, I think this record would be a smash. I think it would be a smash. Because before the Pete Rocks and DJ Premiers and I'll even throw Track Masters in there. It would not have mattered, you know, in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, you know, production or the power of the beats or the arrangements. Maybe except for the message and so on, where, you know, there was some musicianship and there was a little bit of rule, you know, following the rule of sonics. We weren't really into sonics back then. I mean, if you listen to a lot of the records now, you gotta have like a crazy sound system to even enjoy the records, because it really was about what the artist did, how they flowed. I mean, it was the artistry of the artists, which on this record with Victory it's there. The artistry is there. You know, it's not a doubt that the artistry is not there. The artistry is there. But I think because we experienced the era of the Pete Rocks again, the Easy Mobies, Track Masters, DJ Premier, Large Professor, Q-Tip, you know, guys like that. When you do a record now, you gotta cater for the sonics. So I was a little disappointed with the sonics of the record. You know, the sonics for the king. You know, the ruler is back. You know, the sonics needed to be on point. You know, that was you know, the production needed to be back. And funny enough, Q-Tip is on the record. And even the record Q-Tip did, it sonically it probably blew out the rest of the record. And you know, it's sort of like if you're gonna have a record, it needs to uniform itself on a sonic level. You know, the whole concept. So I don't know, maybe this record is a warm-up record for Slick Rick. But I do like the Stress record. I would be booming that Stress record, because I think that sort of brings me back into it. It's a head nod. The flow is lovely. You know, Slick Rick all day. You know, and it actually makes you want to listen to the older records. You know, so Slick Rick, I would love to get you on the show as well if we can. If we can make that happen, it would be honorable to chop it up with the ruler, you know. Yeah, I could dream too. You know, why not? You know, I think the two hardest moments on the record for me is Stress, that record. And there's a part where he talks, you know, he sort of gives a mini biography about himself, about being British, Jamaican, American, and the things he brought to the game. I think that just by itself, that was just hard right there. And there was no tracks. Oh, that's hard. I mean, you know, and then he says, I did that. I mean, that's so hard right there. But, you know, you gotta, and I'm kind of thinking, you know, maybe there might have been, you know, constraints with the budget, or maybe the direction, or maybe, you know, maybe there was something that kind of messed with the whole equation, you know. So I don't want to be too hard on my critique on the record. I love the sentiment of the record. I would say the sentiment of the record is cool. But for someone like Slick Rick, for what he brought to the game previously, I was kind of thinking, maybe I was, you know, just thinking kind of high as to where he would take it. And it's okay. I mean, it's cool to experiment. You know, experimenting is a beautiful thing. He has some club records in there too. I mean, off of the and that's why I talk about if the 90s didn't exist, it would be a smash. I remember now in the early 80s we were coming off of that disco era, so you know the club jams made sense. You know, it made sense to have that boom 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 boom, you know, that sort of a groove. So hey, you know, let's say this is a warm-up record. You know, the Victory is a warm-up record. But I would think that there would be some cats that would really take the artistry of a Slick Rick and really make a beautiful masterpiece without calling it a masterpiece. Yeah. He might have to, you know, I'll even throw in a dream production crew, or maybe a dream concept. And the reason why my concept, in fact, I'm just going on the fly here. I'm not even thinking too much, but I think a good concept for a Slick Rick would be at some point collab with a Dougie Fresh again. I don't know if they're good with each other, if they, you know, sometimes you don't even know what's happening behind the scenes. But hopefully they're on good terms. You know. Even getting a cat like Dana Dane on there. And the reason why I'm thinking Dougie Fresh and then Dana Dane is sort of like the vibe. It's the storytelling aspect of that. And Dana Dane did a good job with that. Even I'll probably throw Master Ace in the mix. You know, that would sort of just give it a different dynamic. And I'll even throw Will Smith in there. You know, it would be a crazy kind of record, I think. And on the production side, who would I want to get? I'll probably think of maybe a Prince Paul. Slick Rick and Prince Paul will be crazy. I'm laughing already. That's gonna be a crazy combination. Shout out to Prince Paul. But I would say a good production assembly would probably be you gotta keep Tip in there. So yeah, Q-Tip would probably set the tone. I would probably have it with Q-Tip sets the tone of the record. That would definitely help with the sonics. And of course, Q-Tip is, I mean, you know, enough said. I think he'll be able to tap in and really set the tone. And then you get a guy like Prince Paul. Now, I'll throw Pete Rock in there. I'll probably throw Pete Rock. And give Pete Rock, I think, the melodic type of a thing he would have on a track. And then he would have the boom, and obviously the sonics would be correct. And even working with someone like a Dr. Dre on the West, like just getting out on the West, and probably even collab with a Snoop. Oh my God, it'd be crazy. But if I'm an executive, that's probably where I'll take it. But Slick Rick, welcome back. We love you, man. Thanks for coming back. and doing this record. I love the Stress record. If it's anything, I'm going to rock with the Stress record. You're going to hear Stress on Muzilog Muzik Radio. Definitely. The headbanger. So yeah, if you're a coffee company, I'm still looking for a coffee company that wants to, rock with the Anytime, Any Day radio show. I'm Samuel Archer, your host. Shout out to the International Village. I'm going to start calling you all the Anytimers. Anytimers. How you feeling? I don't know. Anytimers. Cyber life junkie. Okay. We might have to vote on that, But, let's sweeten the pot. Let's sweeten the pot and get some more. Let's get some more suggestions. I want to get you all, involved. You guys aren't here for just your good looks and your ears and your time. You're here to help build the vibe, especially those of you who push me into this stuff here. Pushing me into stuff. Just like my friend Richard, he always liked to say, Sam, that thing over there, that's a good thing to get involved with. And then, so he did it a few times and I let it pass. Yeah, that Richard White friend of mine. I let him pass, because they weren't bad ideas. They were good ideas. He would see maybe a domain that's really good that was available. He said, Sam, I think you should get this domain, Hey, Sam, I think, so he just for the sake of, in good spirit, it was good. And then after I start holding him to task, I'm like, Mr. White, you like to call me with all these ideas. Why are you not doing it for yourself? And then he starts laughing. Yeah, Mr. White, we're gonna have you on here one of these days. It was soon. It's gonna be soon. But I would be remiss if I don't shout out my folks from Caribbean Feedback. I miss you guys. We need, let me not say we need to because we're in different places right now. But it would be cool for us to do maybe an anniversary episode of some sort. So my folks at Caribbean Feedback, shout out to you. And you all need to go comment on the stuff too, Dr. Henry and Karen and my girl there, Dr. Let me be nice, but the crew. the Caribbean Feedback crew. Now, maybe I should ask you guys. Oh no, but I didn't say. I said Dr. I'm talking about Dr. Judith, by the way. Let me do that. Make sure I say it properly. So shout out to Dr. Judith as well. We had some really good conversations on Caribbean Feedback. Those of you who know the Caribbean Feedback podcast, maybe you can jump in the chat and see, let me see if you guys are feeling that. But if not, we did over 100 episodes of Caribbean Feedback, believe it or not. And they're still on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Caribbean Feedback, and you may have to go under the live category, or maybe you'll just see all the episodes there. Get there and check out those episodes. Those topics are still valid. Conversations pretty good. So shout out to Caribbean Feedback. Yeah, so cool. So this is a Juneteenth special. And there's a lot going on in the world today. And, you know, we all have to do our part. We all have to do our part. It's cool to have a medium where, you know, you can relax, take a couple of things off your mind. And I'm here talking nice and smooth and chilling and, you know, bringing a lovely perspective. You know, it's cool. But it's good to also present, you know, even though things are crazy, it's good for us to take a moment and remember. And the reason why we want to remember is that anything forgotten easily repeats itself. And we want to keep, you know, we want to remember. Because the people who went through the Holocaust, they make sure that we remember. But that ain't happening again, according to them, right? So we need to remember for us, you know, the melanated ones. We need to remember so that it doesn't repeat itself. The horror of, the reason why we have a Juneteenth. And I want to say a shout out to the Honorable Attorney General of New York, Letitia James. Shout out to Letitia James. Shout out to Karen Hunter, by the way, because I listened to Karen Hunter as well. And so she started using this clip from Letitia James as part of the podcast. Now, I don't know how long it would be there, but you know, when I checked out the Karen Hunter show, she had this nice R&B record in the beginning. Nice record too. I don't know who the artist is, but it would be where she's promoting her merch, you know, and this nice R&B record would come on and like, hey, this is dope. And then I remember listening to that same meeting. There was that meeting where Letitia James was at. And there's a clip that Karen Hunter plays on her show that was sort of like the ending of, it might have been a press conference of some sort, or it might have been some sort of a meeting or a town hall or something. And Letitia James closes off like she was in church, or she felt the ancestor, I don't know what it was. Maybe the ancestors just channeled through her, but what she did, it was probably less than a minute. And the vibe you hear in the place, I've seen very little, I haven't seen much speakers do that. Very, very few speakers. You give them 1 minute, we'll just turn the place up. In fact, I'm a good friend with one guy. I saw him do that too, and I was amazed. Give them 1 minute, not 5, not 10. They rip it up in 1 minute. They say the right thing in the first 20 seconds. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And Letitia James did the same thing. And I want to read it. I want to read it, you know, in honor of Juneteenth. And these are the words of Letitia James. We are ready. Oh, we're ready. Sorry, not we are ready. Slap myself. Yeah, I need that coffee company. Call me, guys. Let me start it again. We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is the time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive. Oh my God. This is a bar. I mean, this is so powerful. I feel chill. I felt the chills reading this thing right now. Shout out to the Honorable Attorney General of New York, Letitia James. And Attorney James, I donated to the cause. I wanted to throw that in there. I want to be on your good side. I know. I want you smiling with me. That's all. I'm good. I'm behaving myself over here. So yeah, good. Shout out to all the attorney generals across the country, keeping the checks and balances. All the judges, all the courts across the country, keeping the checks and balances in place. Guys, if you guys weren't in place to do this, we'd be having a different conversation right now. So I'm happy you guys are there. We're sending you guys positive energy. And I know you guys probably not even getting paid for the stuff you all are doing right now. So it's not even about getting paid. It's just crazy all around. So we just want to keep this vibe, this factual vibe going. Spirit of Juneteenth. Spirit of Juneteenth. Shout out to all of you. You're listening to the Anytime, Anyday Radio Show. I'm your host, Samuel Archer. And you're rocking with me, talking about a lot of different things today. So I felt that I should just look at a couple of things in the spirit of Juneteenth. And I'm happy to be one of the people that took part, attended some of the Juneteenth festivals. Now, I'm yet to actually go to one in Texas because it's actually it started in Texas. A shout out to the Texas family for Juneteenth. I've been to some in New York over the years. I've been to some in Philly, Maryland. And was happy when it became a federal holiday too. That was lovely. Shout out to former President Joe Biden, who made it. It's credited to making it a federal holiday. So shout out to him. And so let me look at some notes I have here. I like to bring a little intellectual vibe. And those of you who responded to me in reference to the last episode of the Anytime, Anyday Radio Show, I did drop some major game. If you didn't check it out, got to get back there. I spoke about a lot of things, and I sat there for like 2 hours just chopping it up. I don't know if I'm going to go for 2 hours today, but maybe I might. Who knows? We'll see. We're in a vibe, right? I'm vibing. I'm good. I'm good. So let me enlarge on this here. I'll touch on some major points. Guys, I have readers on. And when you have readers, what happens, right? You got to make the words big, you know. Now, I remember my grandmother would be Ma Vicky. You know, during the day, she'd find time to read the word. And I'm so sorry to laugh. Forgive me, Grams. So my parents had this really big Bible. You know, it was like, you know, really big Bible. Like you could knock somebody out with that Bible. So I think my grandmother would have it, and then she would have the magnifying glass. Now, mind you, she's wearing glasses, have the magnifying glass and reading the word. Lord have mercy. I'm getting chills even remembering that. And she made sure she found the time every day, as best as she could, to study the word. Shout out to Grimes. We call him Vicky. So, I have some notes here, and then I'm going to look at some quotes and some of these things that would make me let us think a little bit and think about the journey that we're on in life. So it says, what happened in June 1865. June 19, 1865. The holiday's name, first used in the 1890s, is a combination of the words June and 19th, referring to June 19, 1865, the day when Major General Gordon Granger ordered the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas at the end of the American Civil War. Now, that's even talking about the Civil War, we'd have to do a deep dive. I don't want to do the deep dive, but you guys can do some research on that, the American Civil War, to get a picture for what was happening in that time. It says that the United States officially abolished slavery with the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution on December 18, 1865. And this amendment declared that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude. But check this out, guys. There's a word here that says, except. Except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. And, so when I read this, I think about the chain gangs, because the same people who wrote this, well, obviously it's not exact, but, get my point. The same people that wrote this created that loophole there, because there were innocent people on the chain gang. They can just throw you in the chain gang. And they showed a piece of that in that movie that Oprah Winfrey produced, The Color Purple. The Color Purple, one of the friends was just taken and said, hey, you know what, you'll be my maid, and had to leave and go be a maid. Just like that. No discussion, no, just like that. So there were loopholes in this stuff. So, is it really abolished? Well, something to think about. Something to think about. And I also wanted to take a look at compare the years, compare and contrast the years of the abolishment of slavery for the melanated ones. It says here, I'm looking at the Trinidad and Tobago date. Slavery was officially abolished in Trinidad and Tobago on August 1st, 1838. So now this year is before the U.S. 1865. Almost 30 years later. Almost 30 years later, they abolished slavery in the States. Talk about just life. Just, there are people that were even held until 1960. There were people that didn't know that slavery was over. They were still on the plantations and thinking that slavery was still existing. Yeah. I remember seeing a young guy interviewing an older guy. And in the conversation, when he found out that the old man thought he was still a slave, he started crying right there on camera. He's like, you don't know that you're free? The guy didn't know. It's crazy. It's interesting but crazy. Interesting but crazy. So we have August 1st in Trinidad and Tobago, in Guyana. Again, it's August 1st. But in Guyana, there was like a little process taking place. So apparently, it started in 1834, and certain things happened in 1833. They were like, I guess they were. It was a process. And they had to look at that. I guess things started without all this paperwork, but when it was time to finish it up, there was paperwork to go through. Isn't that sweet? And it ended August 1st, 1834, the same day with Trinidad and Tobago. So I guess the Brits kind of shut everything down around the same time. Interesting. So we look at Belize. I thought I would check out Belize. Shout out to my Belize family. And they also share the August 1st, 1838 date as well. So that's interesting, sharing these dates. But all of this happened before 1865. So it begs the question, what was the visual, taking place to get to abolishing slavery? I mean, obviously, there's more to talk about, but I thought I would just bring some interesting pointers to points to ponder and to inspire the listenership to research, get in there and do some research on the topic. This is good stuff to know if you didn't know yet. You haven't done any history, Excuse me, get with the program. Now, I think the last place in the Americas, and this would include, North America, Central and South America, the last place to really get on board with it was Brazil. Brazil was the last place to abolish slavery in the Americas. I would have to look for the year. Might have been, let me see if I can pull it up real quick here. Brazil was, might have been 1890. Was it 1888? 1888 in Brazil. So it's the last place in the Americas. 1886 in Cuba. 1848 for the French Empire. 1833 for the British Parliament. 1821 in Ecuador, Colombia. Interesting. (1948) United Nations. This is a Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted. So we've been it's been a while. It's been a while that we're ending this atrocity. My mind goes back to August 1st because in Trinidad, August 1st was where the original carnival happened, right? And somehow it got transferred to the religious dynamic with Lent and, how many days you're eating this and eating that, and 2 days being carnal and Ash Wednesday and that sort of thing. So it begs the question, when we do a carnival, is it really the carnival? Or are we celebrating emancipation in the carnivals? I think it's emancipation. I don't think it's the carnival. Yes, the carnival environment was included. But if it started in August 1st, if the celebrations from August 1st was not about Lent, was not about Monday and Tuesday, which is why when Michael B. Jordan was putting out his rum, people who didn't understand what they were talking about went after him and incorrectly. And I thought that was just such a sad situation. This man spent all his money on his product and had to shut it all down. Man, that was a mess. And we didn't need that division in the family at all. We didn't need that division, and in my opinion, we didn't need that division in the family. And just for conversation's sake, when someone has to patent something, it doesn't mean that it's an ownership of what happens culturally. If something is culturally and used in society, you can't trademark that. Kanye West tried to trademark Sunday service. He couldn't. Sunday service is widely used. It's a cultural thing. It's a religious thing. It's part of the conversation. You can't trademark those things. But as a brand, as a product, he was putting out a product. He had to trademark it. And the confusion is that people felt if he trademarked the product, it would affect the use of the word Juve. Oh my God. We messed it. We messed up there, folks. There was no need to hassle Michael B. Jordan about his rum Juve. There was no need for it at all. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. We're not. I'm not going into that. We're pretty much dealing with the real stuff, you know. You're listening to the Anytime, Any Day radio show. Your host, Samuel Archer. We still have the business card promotion package. You have a business, and your business does not have to be music related, although it's great for those that are musicians and artists. It'd be great for that, but you know, if you're a real estate person, you're a lawyer, you're an entertainment lawyer, you know, publicist, you do marketing, you're an author, you're a plumber, you know. You know, this would be for you. It'd be a good look. You know. So moving on. So I did pull up some information. Again, we're still on the Juneteenth episode of Anytime, Any Day. Shout out to the International Village. I want to hear from my folks in the UK, my folks in Japan. You know, I want to get my Japan audience going. You know, get a little Asian vibe in the show. You know, nice to welcome you guys out here, you know, in podcast land. Yeah, a beautiful thing. As we celebrate Juneteenth, as we talk about it. This is an episode that, you know, you can share, and if you disagree with me, it's fine. Let's debate. We can have that conversation. I'll facilitate your thoughts on it. You know, as long as we keep it respectable. You know, FUBU style. You know what I mean? And if you're a coffee company and you like what we're doing over here, feel free to reach out. I do sip my coffee a few times, and every time I sip the coffee, I can be mentioning the name of your company or your brand. So let's see what happens here. And some of the information has to be fact-checked as we go. You know, though I don't want people to think when I say something, you take it as a gospel. I believe in references. I believe in citation. And even if I'm keeping it light on the show, if you think I said something incorrectly, it's fine to just say, yo, Sam, that thing you said about this was not correct. This is the right information. I will welcome that too. Hey, I don't know it all. I don't know it all. And sometimes when you're doing a show, like, you know, you're doing a show and it's live, and You got to be in a special mind space, and not all the times you say the thing that you need to say accurately. This reminds me of a story I would hear. We had a brother Phillips at church, and he gave a little story to us one time. So, there was this elder in the church who would always criticize the program. Someone would go up and preach or pray or speak, and he'll just be criticizing, saying this could have been better, and why didn't they say this, and So it turned out that he had a chance now to go up on the pulpit and take part in the service. So as he is on the pulpit taking part, he's realizing that it's not easy to be up there. So as he's messing up, he said, and I'm going to say it in dialect, he said, you think it's easy up here? He found out. Hopefully he was more understanding when he saw people going up in front of the congregation or in front of the audience. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to go in front of people and speak or preach or talk or present something. You got to be in a special mind space. You got to do it over time. Learn to regulate the pressure. And it's the same thing when I'm doing the show. It's not like, it's not a cupcake vibe. You got to keep the voice and the smooth vibe, and just keep it all together as you go. Shout out to that elder who fafoed a little bit. F-A-F-O. Yeah. He found out. And my mother shared a story with me too. She spoke about some people that were renting a place, and they'll keep the lights on, and they took long showers. In New York, it's the winter, turn up the heat. But I think they were related to the landlord. It was like, they were related. And the landlord, he let them live. So eventually they moved and, got their own place. And after some time, it turns out that he went and visited the family. So, again, it's during the winter. So he said, the landlord, the former landlord, so he's the former landlord. So he says, hey, why the place so dark, man? Turn on the light down. So they said, man, I'm paying the light bill, man. So he didn't say anything yet. He said, oh, okay. They talk some more. He said, hey, kind of cool in here, man. No heat. Turn on the heat. And they came with the same complaint. Yeah, I'm paying the heat and thing now. And I'm going to going to dialect again. So the landlord said, "Oh, you find out." When you rented from your uncle, you're taking long showers, man. Turn up the heat, lights on, TV on, radio on, everything on, man. Until you had to pay for it. And then you find out. So you shorten the showers. It's a quick vibe, 3 minutes. I don't even know what a 3-minute shower looked like, but I could imagine it's really intense. Yeah, you're kind of regulating the heat. And boy, I had to pay some heat bill by... I had propane, what is it? Propane gas? When our gas run out, there's not problems, you know. There's not problems. You have to move the R from PROB, you know, and take the R and O out and put a U. It's problems. You gotta love it. Hate it or love it, the underdog's on top. Yeah. So I wanna do some inspirational quotes for the Juneteenth episode. There's a quote here from Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana, former president of Ghana. He says here, freedom is not something that one people can bestow on another as a gift. They claim it as their own and none can keep it from them. They claim it. It's not a gift. You know, before I forget, there was one that I read that struck me. There's one other, but anyway, there's one here by Fannie Lou Hamer, but I know the name Fannie Lou, so forgive me if I messed up the last name. It says here, nobody's free until everybody's free. Now you have to live that to even come up with that one. That's powerful. Powerful. This one touched me. Like, you know, it made me think. Like, my mind is interesting, and let me share like a mental visual with you. And maybe musicians think like this. Have you ever been in a room where you have mirrors, like at least on both sides of the room? You have, or like, well, let's say opposite sides. You'd have a mirror, like a wall mirror, and then when you stand, you just see the mirror reflecting and reflecting and reflecting and reflecting, and you just see that image just going and going and going, like going to infinity. You just see different versions of yourself. When I read this, it put me in that space. It's like really, really, really profound. And this is by Coretta Scott King. This is deep. And she says, struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. Oh my God. That's a bar. That is a bar, guys. She's basically saying that every generation has to earn it. That's dope right there. Shout out to the King family. Shout out to the King family. Shout out to the X family, the Malcolm X daughters and the Medgar Evers. I mean, this is deep. This is deep, guys. Struggle is never-ending. Struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. Wow. That's amazing. Amazing. I had to let that had to breathe. I had to breathe for a second. We had to make that breathe. That's dope right there. Won't it be wonderful when Black history and Native American history and Jewish history and all of U.S. history is taught from one book? Just U.S. history. This is by Maya Angelou. That's another bar. I don't even know if this would ever happen. You got people out here busy trying to erase the melanin effect. They're out here busy erasing. And there's this new term called critical race theory. I call it a new term. It's new to me. It's not a new term per se, but the way it's being used. Critical race theory. So there's my 2 cents on it. This was not even something that was for elementary school. I don't know how it ended up as something where it's an elementary thing, like primary schools or even the high schools. I think this was initially a dissertation in a university somewhere as an exploration of a topic. But hey, you can fact check me on it. I'm open to. I wouldn't debate it. I just read on it and felt that it's a little bit moronic in a sense, because once you have the word theory in something, to me, theory is like, you're putting up a wall and you had to put like other pieces of wood around it to help you create the wall and make sure it's straight. And, you put the cement and the blocks and, put it all together. And then after you build the wall, you take these other extra pieces of wood down. The boxing and the beam boxes and all of those things. To me, that's a theory. Once you prove something, you don't need the theory anymore. There's nothing to prove about slavery. It happened. It's not a theory. And we call ourselves brilliant. Jesus. I mean, even when you look at a detective show, and they're getting kind of in the middle of the case, or they're doing their detective work, and then one detective might ask the other, so hey, you look like you have a hunch. What's your theory? You see when theory comes in? When you have a hunch. What happened to black people on the planet? It's not a hunch. It happened. There's no hunch here. There's no theory. It's already proven. So why are adults talking about critical race theory? That's like the mayonnaise sandwich I spoke about the other day. You don't want a little diversity in your sandwich, The clown show again. We're removing critical race theory. Like, remove what? I will sign it into law. It's a policy. Come on, guys, we're more brilliant than that. When you prove your theory, you rip it up because it's proven. Period. We don't have to prove what black people went through on the planet. It's done. It's history. It's in the books. It happened. There's pictures. There's records. There's lives were lost. It's there. There's no theory. Jesus. It's a theory. Okay. Knock yourself out on a theory. Woo. Well, this is kind of rough, but I'm going to read it. This is from Malcolm X. Anytime anyone is enslaved or in any way deprived of his liberty, if that person is a human being, whoa. If that person is a human being, as far as I'm concerned, he is justified to resort to whatever methods necessary to bring about his liberty again. Malcolm X. Powerful. And we have one here from Viola Davis, one of my favorite actresses. I think she should do Nina Simone. Although one was done recently, and I thought it was a good job too. Although folks felt, different about it, and What's the young lady's name again? Nina Simone movie. Played by Zoe Saldana. I thought she did a good job with the movie. The critique, and I'll talk about it. The critique I heard about it had nothing to do with anything that made sense. When you take a role, it's like theater, A movie is just a hybrid of what you do in theater, or it's a simulation, and you're telling a story. And anyone should be able to tell the story, whether they look like the character. So, when Denzel did The Hurricane, Denzel looks nothing like the guy that did The Hurricane. When Will Smith did the film Happiness with His Son, he didn't look anything like the dude that the story is about. It's not about looking like the person. Zoe doesn't look like Nina Simone. And people had an issue with that. I don't understand why. But if I was going to go with someone, I would go with Viola Davis. I think, now the nice thing is that there's room to do another story. There's so many layers to Nina Simone if you learn about her life that you can do a movie on and like really make it a special production. Where I think the approach with that they did with Zoe, they sort of did a whole, it was like, okay, she started here and it ended here, that sort of thing. A lot of times you can just pick a certain period and really make that the meat of your film. And if there are any directors out there thinking of doing that, I would say go and talk to Viola Davis. I think she would kill that role. She will definitely kill that role right there. But anyway, she has a quote here in celebration of Juneteenth. It says, as Black women, I'm a Black man now, okay? So it's not, she's, all right, good. As Black women, we're always given these seemingly devastating experiences that could absolutely break us. But what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls the butterfly. Whoa. What we do as Black women is to take the worst situations and create from that point. That's so deep, guys. That's deep. I don't think you guys, well, I'm not going to say if you think it's deep or not. This is deep. It's deep. I'm in that room with mirrors on opposite sides again. That's deep. That's powerful. Shout out to Viola Davis. Powerful. I have one here by Frederick Douglass. And his quote says, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. That's deep. And what makes it deep is that during the slave trade, they actually took the best of the best. They didn't take any dregs. They was taking good stock. And they made rules to, keep it down, Knowledge. There was a time it was unlawful to know to read. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. And he's basically saying without the knowledge, you are a slave. If you have no knowledge, you're fit to be a slave. That's deep right there. Double entendre. Just, Wow. Powerful. 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 And if you guys want to read this through, I got this. You can go into your search, if it's Google search or Bing search, and look for 55 inspiring Juneteenth quotes. Let me see if for 2025. Yeah. And I'm not going to be reading all of these, but there's a couple that I want to pick out, and I see that Maya Angelou is all over this. I mean, she was a force to be reckoned with anyway. Force to be reckoned with. And this quote she has here, it says, where's that quote? I moved the thing around. Oh, here we go. Well, I know this one. There's a song on this. I actually played this song for a few people, but it says here, "You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise." Maya Angelou. Powerful. Powerful, powerful. Yeah, you guys would want to, it's cool that we're celebrating Juneteenth and remembering, and, we don't have to limit it to a day, every day, read one of these quotes, share it. You're not here for your good looks. You think you're here for your good looks? We even have a quote from Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. Look at that. We even have Angela Davis in here. Look at that. Juneteenth has never been a celebration of victory or an acceptance of the way things are. It's a celebration of progress. It's an affirmation that despite the most painful parts of our history, change is possible. And there is still much work to do. Barack Obama. Or should I say Barack Obama. In the Caribbean, we'll say Barack, not Barack. Tomato. And this is from Michelle Obama. It says, "What I love about Juneteenth is that even in that extended wait, we still find something to celebrate. Even though the story has never been tidy, and Black folks have had to march and fight for every inch of our freedom, our story is nonetheless one of progress." Michelle Obama. Angela Davis. Today on Juneteenth, the day we celebrate the end of slavery, the day we memorialize those who offered us hope for the future, and the day when we renew our commitment to the struggle for freedom. Angela Davis. We got Pharrell Williams in the house. Pharrell Williams. Producer extraordinaire. He has a quote too. Okay. The day we were free, everyone was free. Why not make it a paid holiday? We deserve that. We want a day that is inclusive to everyone. Okay, well, Pharrell, I'm gonna have to meditate on this one a little bit. It's a little, I see what you're saying in my Denzel vibe. I really see what you're saying, but I need to meditate with it a little bit. I'm not sure if he's talking about reparations on this one. Is he make it a paid holiday? Okay, so I may have to get some expounding now. Not that it's incorrect or anything. I just need to get the full vibe. from where he's coming. You're listening to the Anytime, Any Day Radio Show with your host, Samuel Archer. Hope you guys are enjoying the vibe. We went for 2 hours. Continue to make it a great day. Shout out to my international village. It's a beautiful thing. Take care.
You're listening to Muzilog Muzik Radio, home of indie artists.
Keep it locked.